Hello and welcome to GatherVerse News Unscripted, your home for humanity-based tech journalism. Today we're going to be talking about what is becoming a real problem in the world of artificial intelligence: authenticity. How do we know if something is real or if it's fake? We've seen some cases start to poke their heads up recently that are really concerning. One of them, the Chinese Communist Party, has been sending out some videos that seem to be propaganda. Another is that the FBI has been reporting an uptick in the number of deep fake pornography images they're seeing. And unfortunately, the victims in these deep fakes have been blackmailed by the people who are making them. Truly a problem as we move forward. But how many of us are really prepared? And how many of us can tell if something is AI generated or if it's real? To find out, we decided to send two of our GatherVerse news reporters, Theresa FitzGibbon and Jordan Klein, to hit the streets of San Francisco. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Theresa FitzGibbon, and today Jordan Klein and myself are here in San Francisco. We want to know what the residents and visitors of San Francisco know when it comes to the technology that is emerging literally right next door to them. Have they ever used it before? Have they seen it? So we're going to go to a couple different spots in the city. We're going to ask them about new tech. We're going to show some folks some AI and see what's up.
So Theresa and I are here at the San Francisco Ferry Building. We are here in San Francisco's Chinatown.
We are standing here in Hayes Valley, which is now being called Cerebral Valley to distinguish it from its tech cousin down south, of course, Silicon Valley.
A vibrant marketplace with artisanal vendors, shops, and a farmer's market. It is one of the oldest and largest Chinatowns in North America and stands as a cultural and historical landmark right in the heart of the city.
So we're gonna walk around, we're gonna probably run into some tech folk, and we're gonna see what it is that they know about AI. They're probably gonna teach us some stuff, and we're gonna ask them if they can distinguish AI from reality. Let's go.
So first I'm gonna show you a few photos and see if you can distinguish between a picture taken of reality and an AI generated image.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that's AI.
I think AI.
I'll say real for this one.
That's real.
AI again.
Gee.
This was AI.
Correct.
Because it looks a little like it's dead. That's AI.
I'm gonna go with AI, but only because you're asking me.
I'm gonna say real.
I'm gonna say AI as well.
See, like, now I'm second guessing. That looks fake.
AI.
It seems real, I guess.
Oh, wait, no.
It might be AI.
It looks AI.
Yeah.
It's way too clean to be, like, real.
That looks like AI.
Okay. AI.
I would say AI. What do you guys say?
I think
Yeah, so this is actually kind of a famous picture, one that's been in the news a little bit because the artist of this won an award, but they don't want to actually take the award because it is AI generated.
Okay.
So they're saying, oh, we shouldn't take it.
I would say this one is AI as well.
I'm assuming someone painted it.
I'm so cute. I think that's AI. I think that's AI.
The Pope.
That seems real.
It's so funny.
I mean,
I'm gonna go real.
That's AI.
How about this guy?
That was real.
That's AI. That's AI. It's kind of ridiculous, so it's got to be real.
This one.
Okay, that's so real. Real, yeah, right? That's 100% real, Cameron. Real.
AI.
What? Stop! No! I love that little Oh my god.
So does that.
Yeah, they're all AI.
You're all AI.
Yeah.
This
Man.
was going over. What do you think of those?
The pictures? I mean, honestly, it's going to be really strange, right? Because we are getting to a point where you can't look at a picture and know that it's real. True and false have gotten really hard to distinguish for a lot of people, and it's having vast consequences throughout our society, and it's going to get harder, and so that's kind of scary.
Some of the folks we talked to today seemed more enthusiastic about these emerging technologies, while some definitely exhibited more caution about the issues in privacy and the accuracy of the information they're getting. Thanks for spending the day with me, Theresa, and GatherVerse News.
Great reporting from our two reporters, intrepid reporters, I should say. Nice job hitting the streets. Thank you for bringing back those responses. I'm curious if there's anything that surprised you while you were out there. Jordan, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having us on. I think one of the most significant surprises was definitely the wide range of awareness levels among the people we interviewed. Some exhibited a really high level of knowledge about AI technology and confidence in the images, and others had a more limited understanding or were completely unaware of the advancements in this field. And I think even with AI being all over the news and how it seems to permeate almost all my casual conversations these days, we still have folks who are totally new to all of this. And as for guessing between real versus AI generated, I think it's clear that with this rapid advancement in AI technology, we have come to a point where it is increasingly difficult to distinguish between real and artificially generated content. And this poses significant challenges in terms of trust and misinformation and privacy. And as we're showing people these images, a lot of them were genuinely surprised to find that many of the images they felt were certain were real were artificially generated. So that raising awareness about the capabilities and limitations of AI technology will be crucial for individuals to navigate the ever-growing digital landscape effectively and discern the authenticity of visual content.
Well said. I appreciate that. You know, it is interesting looking at those images you chose. There was one that was what, like a little hamster or something? Was it playing a fiddle? That one you feel like, okay, folks, you got to know that this one is not a real picture. I mean, Theresa, what was your takeaway from being in the field?
No, it's so funny you say that, because I was going to say the one thing that really surprised me is that some folks thought the image of Gandhi taking a selfie of himself was real. And I might have my timeline a little bit wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Gandhi didn't have a phone. Maybe he was carrying a camera around taking pictures of himself. But, you know, that was the one thing that kind of surprised me in regard to people being able to distinguish AI from reality. It seemed pretty obvious that some people would, some people wouldn't be able to tell. I think, you know, gosh, I forgot what I was going to say.
All right. There are those moments where you're out there and you're like, people look at these things and it is really hard to tell. Even with that Gandhi image, I think I couldn't tell that it was a selfie. It looked like maybe a portrait of him or something, but maybe in the full image, you could see that a little bit better, that it was that idea of a selfie.
And I think I reclaimed my train of thought here. I think the major takeaway was that it seems like there's now jeopardy when it comes to images and videos. You know, beforehand, we thought that these were tell-alls. You know, we thought that these were really good ways for us to provide evidence for or against somebody saying something or somebody doing something. And now we don't really have those kind of forms of evidence. You know, people will say, oh, AI videos and images, they're going to cause the proliferation and spread of misinformation and propaganda. Yes, that's absolutely true. We have seen that, however, throughout history with all different forms of communication. I'm thinking back to yellow journalism in the late 1800s. They didn't have technology, but they used physical newspapers to, you know, sensationalize information, push certain things to headlines, and essentially manipulate what it is that people read. And that can happen AI or not. The question now is, and it's a very obvious question, I think the day and the pool of people that we interviewed made it even more obvious that, you know, the tell-alls, pictures and videos are now in jeopardy. And we need to maintain the integrity of what it is that we image and capture in video.
You know, this is something that Louis Rosenberg, who's a leading voice in AI, speaks about often, is finding some way to authenticate what's real and what isn't. But, you know, Theresa, I think you bring up a valid point that we have been here before in history. This is not the first time we are facing a challenge to understand if what we are seeing is true or not. And we have found ways to surmount that challenge, to get over those obstacles. And so that does give me some hope that we can do that again. Now, both of you came to this reporting project actually feeling a little behind the times, which is funny for, you know, a veteran journalist like me who's been in this sphere for a long time of reporting and learning about the world. I feel like you, who are all just emerging from college and you're in the early parts of your career, that you have your finger on the pulse. But is the pulse just beating so fast that it's hard for you to keep up as well? Theresa, why don't we start with you and then go to Jordan?
Sure. So I very much so feel behind the times when it comes to technology. I always say I'm like an 8-year-old living inside a 20-something-year-old's body. And when it comes to technology, it just seems like another thing to add to the plate of life. And so, you know, what really draws me kind of into this topic is more of the ethical and philosophical debate that is going on. So with that interest, I figured, you know what, maybe now's the time to understand a little bit more about the technical side of things, slowly but surely. Little by little, I'm learning. But, you know, I thought it was really interesting to be able to go into San Francisco and ask the people who are living literally right next door to the places where this technology is emerging to see if are they behind the times? They can't be. It's San Francisco. They're right in the hub of technology. They have to know this technology. They have to use it. And with the heads of tech kind of calling for a pumping of the brakes, I thought everybody must know about ChatGPT. Everybody must be using it. It must be so proliferative. So let's go down and see.
And what about you, Jordan? What did you think?
Yeah, likewise, I myself came pretty late to the game and would say
let's be clear. When you say late to the game, it's all a new game. So you can't be that late to it.
Right. It's relative for sure. You know, ChatGPT launched just back in November, but I don't think I even heard about it until maybe March, and then didn't even try it myself until I think for another month after that. I wanted nothing to do with it. I thought, what's wrong with the good old Google search? That was working just fine for me. But little did I know that ChatGPT could be helping me write a pitch for a journalism story. And like you said, I just graduated college in May, and this is the thing that I seem to be needing to focus on now as I enter the workforce. We're asking these questions about AI and what it means for us. Will the robots be taking our jobs? And we're in a recession. So there's all these elements that I'm having to consider now out of college. And I am willing to learn about these emerging technologies. I've consumed more AI content in the past month than I could have ever possibly predicted for myself. But I think what's really been raising flags for me to report on AI awareness is we're hearing these calls to adopt and really embrace this technology into our lives. And it's becoming more inevitable that AI is the future. And I want to know what we're getting ourselves into. And I want to know the facts and what are the limits. And I am a Bay Area resident, born and raised here in Oakland, and am surrounded by this emerging technology myself. So I still have so many questions and reservations. And it was so interesting to see that in the people we spoke to as well. And by interviewing them, engaging their ability to discern AI generated images, we're really aiming to understand the extent to which AI generated content can deceive and manipulate, and the other ethical considerations around.
And it's not always right? Like, so I remember going and looking myself up in ChatGPT saying, tell me about Priya David Clemens. There are a couple things that are right. And actually, there's a fair amount of information about me online because I've been in this space for a while. So there's a Wikipedia entry and there are other biographies that are written about me at the various news stations I've worked for. it got 75% of it wrong. It said that I was on boards that I haven't been on. It said that I worked for agencies I'd never worked in, then countries and places that I had never been to. But there's no way of knowing what's real or what's not for the average person if they're just looking up a general topic. So there are still definitely concerns about using this technology and what that's going to look like. You know, just a couple final questions here. Jordan, you did also talk to people about other technologies, not just AI. You talked to them about ChatGPT as well. Tell me about those responses for other tech.
Sure. The responses for that were indeed mixed as well. Some people were fairly knowledgeable and had heard about ChatGPT and had tried it. But some folks were much more limited in their awareness and had some skepticism. Some people had not heard of it. One person we actually talked to in Hayes Valley had never heard of ChatGPT before. He was a young man who worked in freelance illustration and retail. And we thought it was really funny. He said that he was the worst San Franciscan and doesn't really use tech. And we actually had him try ChatGPT for the first time. And he asked it a question about anime. And in its response, he noted that the ChatGPT description of anime omitted a lot of the really human elements or the human nuanced perspective of the genre. And for example, like the display of expression of the characters, like a drop of sweat and just really these really human details that a chatbot might not have the nuance to pick up on. So I think that that type of response really illuminates the varying degrees of understanding and engagement with chatbot technology and underscores all of these
technology.
the need for broader education and awareness initiatives to ensure that the public is well informed about the capabilities of this technology and what these little details you might be able to pick up on when it comes to accurate information.
And then before we go, Theresa, last question, any other takeaways from your overall reporting?
I think absolutely. I think with the pause on kind of artificial intelligence that the big heads of tech are calling for, I really thought, like I said before, everybody was going to know about this technology and that they were going to be using it. So I expected to go down there and everybody to be teaching us things and say, oh yeah, I use it all the time. But I think what I realized, and this is just speculation, maybe the coming of ChatGPT and other chatbots was kind of a last straw when it comes to the heads of tech. There were probably other things going on, and this was just kind of the last thing that they were like, okay, let's slow down, everybody, and let's, kind of cause a pause. And I think what I realized is it might not be as proliferative, at least on the surface, when it comes to people knowing about specifically ChatGPT, but there's obviously other powerful AI in the background. And I did want to say, in regard to that one interview/instance that we had with the person who lived down in San Francisco and didn't know what ChatGPT was, when they looked up anime, I thought it was just an amazing moment where it showed the contrast between chatbots and GPT and what it means to be a human. Because kind of what Jordan and I were saying is, he's sitting here, he's like, but it's anime, and ChatGPT is just kind of listing off, a huge laundry list of what it means to be ChatGPT. And I thought it was an amazing moment. Unfortunately, we couldn't add into a clip, but it was this amazing moment that showed the humanity of this person who loves anime and kind of just ChatGPT providing and being a more informational source.
Theresa FitzGibbon, Jordan Klein, thank you so much for this excellent report and debrief. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on GatherVerse News Unscripted. Come on back for a special episode on Juneteenth on Monday at noon. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.